Good afternoon, my name is Clint Martin.
My name is Alfonso Terrell Merritt.
My name is Paul Jordan.
Oh, my name is Kelam, spelled Kelam.
I was convicted of first-degree murder, shooting to an occupied motor vehicle, and a gang enhancement on September 2nd, 1990.
I was originally arrested on March 13th, 1995.
I was incarcerated on October the 1st, 1993.
I was convicted and sentenced in June of 1995.
My sentence was 25 to life plus 5, so it was 30 to life, run together. And I ended up doing 25 of the 30-year sentence.
My sentence, 16 years to life for second-degree murder.
My sentence was 25 years to life with a 2-year gang enhancement.
I was sentenced to 16 years to life.
My biggest challenge of being in prison is opening up to people and trusting anyone and holding on to the same belief that I had when growing up. Really being transparent about who I am and the struggles I had. It was more easy for me to stay within my own self, or you could say I had this castle that I built over the years as a kid, and it was easy for me to lock myself away. And one of the scariest things for me was to really be transparent about my feelings, because one thing prison is so similar to the streets when I went in. And growing up, we were stuck in that belief system that men don't show no emotions. Men has to be strong, men are fearless. And so I held on to that for many years. It wasn't until I got to San Quentin, all those barriers started falling apart, because I was shown that by other older lifers who modeled that for me and also encouraged me to be transparent with who I really am and to be honest with myself.
Well, at first, it was the separation from my family and actually just being so far away from home, because I was convicted in California, but I'm originally from Indiana. And so it was like all of my ties were so far away, and there was just this big family strain. And also it was just trying to adjust to a whole different culture, because out here in society, there are certain rules and norms, but in prison, it seems like they're inverted. And that was really hard to adjust to.
You know, I think just coming to terms with the reality that one life was over and that this new life was what I had to deal with now. And I think just letting go of everything, which was really hard. And I'm not just talking about like material possessions, but just the fact that all of my relationships that I had, they were no longer ever going to be the same. I had a young son, and I had to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to be there for him. Had to come to terms with knowing that my mother would have to deal with having her son in prison. And I can only imagine how horrible that would be, being a father. So it's, ironically, the prison part of it wasn't that difficult, because you just get up every day and do what you have to do. But I think it was just coming to terms with everything that had happened and what I had done to everybody.
Well, my biggest challenges were being so young in prison. I was convicted at 17. So that was my biggest challenge, was being incarcerated at a young age and have to deal with all that brings with it. So wanting to fit in, this is what men do, all those things we tell ourselves, these stories, right? Breaking free of that and making that transition into my true authentic self, who I really am, not the person that I was at that point in time when I was 17 years old in that car, with a loaded weapon, thinking that I was Mr. Bad and gonna, protect the gang or do whatever, so just breaking free, basically, breaking that wall down.
That's a funny question. When I got into James' yoga class, I had this preconception that yoga was for girls. Honestly, I didn't think much of it. I didn't think I was gonna get anything out of it. I thought, yeah, we were just gonna go there and stretch and just like, and it's gonna be a piece of cake. I remember the first day I got in there, after doing the upward dog, downward dog, chaturanga, I'm like, what the heck is this? My body started, I stretched muscles that I hadn't stretched in years. And after that, I started telling guys like, hey, you guys gotta try yoga. And they had the same mentality I had when I first joined in. Like, oh, that's sissy, you're not gonna get nothing out of it. It's not difficult, it's easy. Girls do it. No, I know I could do it. And I told them, no, it's not what you think it is.
Actually, I didn't know. I thought yoga was like about just like stretching, and it was more about exercise. And then going into it, I learned all of the connections between mind, body, and spirit, and learning to sit with discomfort, and just, it was all around. It was a totally different experience. And I remember my first day, I thought, oh, this is gonna be a blast. It's gonna be real easy. And by 10 minutes into this hour, this couple of hours of yoga, I was sweating so bad. I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Actually, it was the one thing, it was one of the things that grounded me throughout the week. I would go in on Tuesday nights, and usually, in that environment, you're tense, you're always on alert. It's this hypersensitive, vigilant atmosphere. And then when you go in, when I go in and do yoga, I come out, I'm more relaxed, and it helps me to deal with my week better. And it was always that way. So I look forward to my night of yoga, because it gave me a chance to just actually relax my muscles, my tension, and it gave me a chance to actually not have to think about everything that was going on in the yard and in the building. It was more of a way to kind of decompress all of the madness.
I was intrigued by it and open-minded going in, and also interested, excited, curious, but I had never done yoga, so I didn't really know. So when I got in there, I came to realize that, it was a life-changing experience to be able to, quiet everything down and really get attuned to my body and my mind and sync everything up. So for me, it was like such a, impactful thing to have, and especially in a place like that where everything is so chaotic and crazy, to have this place we could go, this refuge where we could kind of tune all that out and just kind of turn inward. So there was that, and then also too, just it was really eye-opening to me how physically challenging yoga was. I didn't realize, because you always think of like tough guys are lifting weights and doing these other things, but the yoga was extremely physically challenging. I mean, far more than anything else I had experienced. So it was, it was great. It really was, for me, what I needed at that time.
Well, first of all, I ain't gonna lie. I got a friend named Kimani Randall. He's like my brother. The first thing that he said to me was, let's go to James's class. He got some beautiful women up in there, man. So I was like, nah, I don't want to go for the women, but I was kind of interested in yoga because I just wanted to experience it, because I've seen a lot of people doing it. And I would always, I worked in the kitchen early in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'd always get up at like 1, 2 o'clock, and they'd always have like the morning stretch or different things on where they were doing yoga. You know what I mean? I always wonder, what is this down dog thing? You know what I mean? So I didn't know what I was going to get into. I can say that, being incarcerated, that was one of the best things that I ever did. It allowed me to calm myself down. James gave us a lot of breathing techniques, and a lot of different positions for us to handle situations, you know what I mean? Stressful situations. Because in prison, there's a lot of stressful situations. So honestly, I really didn't know what I was going to get into going into this class, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I stayed in there all the way up into the end before I got released. I left probably like about a month and a half before I got released. I left the class to make room for some of the other guys. You know, James asked me, you know, make some room for the other guys. You know what it's about now. You can do it wherever, you know. So, you know, I accepted the challenge, broke away a little bit, let the guys experience what I experienced. So.
I've been out for 4 years, and you know, the transition from, you know, that life to my life now is it's been, you know, it's been demanding. There's all kinds of forces pulling on you that, you know, previously didn't exist. So I've gone off and on with practicing, but recently have just started practicing again, and it's, I mean, really all the same things I described earlier are true now. It's like it really allows me to kind of turn inward, you know, let go of all these things that are, you know, distracting me. And then I'm also, as we were discussing it, I find myself just being a lot less reactive, you know, and little things not bothering me as much. And so yeah, it's just something that hopefully I can continue to do and just make part of my life on a more daily basis. And then also I really want to pass along to my son and get him into it. So, and it's really crazy because babies naturally do yoga anyhow. I mean, he's always in downward dog and he's always striking these poses that look like warrior, and it's crazy. So I think it's just natural in us to kind of want to move our bodies that way and to kind of just be centered. I think there's a part of it that is just natural. So yeah, I think that to me is what more than anything what it means.
So the key things I learned in yoga, for one, was the breathing technique. I still hold on fast to that. I didn't share that with a lot of people, you know, because I work with a lot of kids, and I also work with formerly incarcerated men and parolees. And so one thing, even strangers I don't know, and then when I notice that they're going through some difficult time, the first thing I ask is like, do you ever think about your breathing? And surprisingly, many of them were like, no. And like one guy I'm working with right now, I remember when I took him on BART, and he had a panic attack. So I asked him, hey, would you be willing to, you know, close your eyes and take some deep breath? The great thing was he took on that request, and after he was done, I said, did that help? He said yes. During that little BART trip, he probably did that 5 times. And it helped him throughout the whole day, because we did it through the whole day. And so I still hold fast to that.
Well, actually, there's a few things. I start off physically, because physically, right now, I work in a laborers union, and every day it's a physically demanding job. And so being able to actually be flexible and limber is good. But then there's dealing with some of the challenges around mentally, as far as just dealing with society. And with yoga, I learned to sit with discomfort. And whether that discomfort is physical, mental, or spiritual, it's like, just for me in the beginning, when I first was released, just crossing the streets in San Francisco was kind of trying, because I'm not used to being in crowds like that. And when you get ready to cross the street, it seems like everybody looks like they're gonna run into each other. And there's that little bit of apprehension. And I'm able to stop and just take a breath and relax and just let life come. And that happens in many facets of my life that I find challenging. And then there's just so much that yoga has helped me with as far as getting back into society. You know, it's being able to just deal and stop and breathe and like I said earlier, just accept life. Because before, it was like a lot of times I would get angry or get frustrated. I'm less frustrated when I'm able to remember to stop, take a breath, and sit with it, you know? And I think that's my main thing that I take from it.
Well, the funny thing about life on this side of the wall is there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of things that happen daily that if you don't center yourself, if you don't have that peace and that center, right, it can throw you off the track where you'll either end up back in prison or you'll be running, away from something good. So for me personally, I think that my daily routine, I'm about to have a child, and my girl is a little, how should we say, testy. She's going through those stages where, if I leave a paper plate out, it's why you didn't throw it away, and it becomes a huge situation. And I just gotta breathe, you know what I mean? I gotta breathe, I gotta, take my time, you know what I mean, center myself. And I wouldn't have that if I didn't take that class. I wouldn't have that centering, you know what I mean? Sometimes I just take a deep breath, I do my counts, I'll release the breath, and it's funny because she looks at me like, what the hell are you doing? And then I'll be like, baby, I didn't throw it away because I didn't throw it away. I'll throw it away next time. But I'm centered now, you know what I mean? I'm not blowing up, going off the scale, highly agitated, you know what I mean? I've centered myself, I'm back in focus, and it feels good. It feels good.